Welcome on in, my Ashwings, to another installment of the Silver Age A to Z series. Today we're actually taking a look at Florian. Florian is next and last in the Fs of this entire alphabet of heroes. And Florian is a hero that I really did resonate a lot with when they were initially released. I liked their overall theme and lore, their aesthetic as a character, and really their concept of more of a late game strategy in like setting yourself up, getting yourself stronger as the game goes on, as opposed to the opposite. And I really do think that that kind of shines a lot here, in which like you are really the weakest you could be starting, but once you're online, it is really, really hard to stop the onslaught of damage. But Florian is an elemental runeblade who utilizes the earth talent and the elemental talent, of course, but their ability says if there are 4 or more earth cards in your banish zone, Florian gets if you would create 1 or more aura tokens, instead create that many +1 of each of those tokens. So if you ever make a rune chant token, it will make that many +1. If you make an embodiment of earth token, it will make that many +1. So that's really powerful, but it's getting to that point that's kind of the harder part about the deck. A card called Rootbound Carapace that is all over the current Classic Constructed meta is not available for play in this format, even though it's a rare. And it is really hard to be a defensive Earth hero and not have a defensive Decompose ability. Decompose is the ability that you're going to be using, the keyword here, to get cards from your graveyard into your banish zone to make sure that you get online faster. More importantly, though, you're going to be utilizing a lot of cool Runeblade abilities and kind of pumping up a lot of your stuff with your weapon, Nebula Blade. Now, I know what most people are thinking. Why the heck are you not playing Reaping Blade? Reaping Blade costs 1. It's probably better. That's because we do kind of want to heal, and we don't need to worry about our opponents kind of like over-healing us. I do think Nebula Blade, of course, coming in for 4 at a breakpoint and threatening on-hit Rune Chant is really good, especially in the late game when we can send 4, on-hit make 2 Rune Chants, and set ourselves up for the next turn. It's kind of like a pseudo what they would be doing in Classic Constructed. We, of course, are then running the Blade Beckoner Boots, because we don't really care about Go Again in this deck. We kind of just want to make sure to block and send some stuff out every now and again, so Blade Beckoner Boots help us block a little bit more. We have Blossom of Spring to allow us to send more cards from our hand that maybe we don't have the resources for. We have the Plume of Evergrowth, which allows us to pay 3 resources and then put an Earth or Earth instant or action from our graveyard to our hand. So if we ever want to play any of our really powerful Earth cards like Arcane Seed's Life, that is a card that I would suggest bringing back into your hand if it's still in your grave. And then we do have Runehold Release. This is just to make a Rune Chant. If you're online, it makes 2 Rune Chants, so you're threatening a little bit more damage. We are then playing Arcane Cussing. The reason we're playing Arcane Cussing is because of this card, Contempt to Slaughter. It's a card you could probably take out if you're not really like confident in always getting its full effect, but it is pretty good to be able to make you a bunch of Rune Chant tokens should you need them. We do also then have Arcane Seed's Life. This is like the best card in the deck by far. I'm almost certain of it. It gains you 1 life, and then also you're utilizing the other side because both sides cost 0 for you to play. So you're playing both ends, you're gaining 1 life, and then you're creating a Rune Chant token and then creating a Rune Chant token. It's written like this because in Florian's ability, if Florian is online, Florian will make a Rune Chant token +1, and then we'll make a Rune Chant token +1. So think of it like this makes you 2 when you're offline, 4 when you're online, and it has Go Again. We love to see it. We are running all 6 copies of Autumn's Touch. It's just the best Earth card you can put in the deck for blocking. And also, it's just like good value. It's poppers, right? The reds and the yellows are poppers, so you don't have to worry about a bunch of poppers in your deck. And overall, it's just like good curve. We have Blossoming Decay, one of our decomposed cards. When this attacks, you can decompose, and then you can gain a life. Cadaverous Tilling says when you decompose, it gets +2, so this is going to come in for 8. It costs 3, so it's going to be a 2-card 8, which we love to see, especially in a young hero format. We have Condemned to Slaughter. This is how we're getting this to be blown up. We are running the reds and the yellows. Effectively, what we want to do here is with a blue, we can play a Condemned to Slaughter red. Next Runeblade attack this turn gets +3, and you can destroy an aura you control. If you do, each opponent destroys an aura permanent they control. So if you happen to have one of these out already, You can then go ahead and destroy it with the Condemned to Slaughter, get 3, maybe 4 rune chants, and then also use the 2 floating resources to swing Nebula Blade for 3 to 4 rune chants plus 7 points of damage. Very powerful stuff. Very much so a good place to be for the deck. And I think the curve is really good for what we want to be with it. We then are also playing Fruits of the Forest red and blue. This is mainly if we need to threaten breakpoints, we can play the reds, but the blues are pretty much there to pitch and also to discard to gain life, should we need to gain life. We have Malefic Incantation red and yellow. This is in case we are swinging those attack actions that we get some arcane rune chants in the back end there, which is going to be pretty good. And then Oath of the Arknight red and blue. This is the same concept as Condemned to Slaughter, except it just makes you a rune chant. So in the end game, you're going to want to save these for that because you can then make a rune chant and then swing. You'll make 2 rune chants, hopefully. We have Reduced to Rune Chant. Very good defense reaction. If you already have a rune chant out, this costs nothing, and it just blocks for 4, and it makes a rune chant. Very good late game. We have Runeblood Incantation. This makes you a rune chant at the beginning of every one of your turns, so long as it has a verse counter on it. So if you are able to get these out early enough in the game, you're kind of just slowly going to be stacking up on those rune chants. And if you end up getting one late game, you might even get 2 rune chants per each verse counter. We then have Sigil of Suffering, another defense reaction. Again, we're going to want to kind of play a little bit more mid-rangey, and Sigil of Suffering is going to help us do this. This is also a great way to end games. If you ever find your opponents at 1 life, and they're sending everything at you, and they don't have any arcane barrier, you can just block with this card, and it will ping them for 1, and they will just perish. So it's pretty good. Sigil of Earth, when you're online, this is much better, but usually it's just a blue Earth card. But if it enters at the beginning of the action phase, destroy this. When it leaves the arena, you create an Embodiment of Earth token. If you're online, it'll make 2. Those are pretty good in case you are trying to block out your opponent, because if you have 2 of them, that means that a card like Sigil of Earth will then block for 4. You also have cards like Arcane Seed's Life, which will block for 5. So it's fine to have them every now and again, but really it's probably not that. It's just a blue that we kind of need to swing our weapon. We then have Summer's Fall. This is another decomposed card, and really this is just kind of a way for us to put an aura to the bottom of our deck if we really want to. So for instance, we can play this, and if the Runeblood Incantation does not have any counters left on it, and it's going to be destroyed at the beginning of our next turn, we can just go ahead and target that with Summer's Fall, put it to the bottom of our deck. That way we can use it again later, which is pretty good. We can also utilize it to blow up our opponent's stuff too. So for instance, if they have a rune chant they need in order to rune gate out something, or if they have a fealty token that they need in order to swing their daggers for more than, for free, effectively, if they're on Fang. Summer's Fall is going to be really, really great for that, to kind of just push them to the side and say, hey, you don't get to keep that aura. We then move into our inventory here. We do have Arcane Polarity. This is just in case you're going against any kind of arcane damage deck. It's always great to have an additional 4 life, or 8 life, theoretically. We then have Meet and Greet. Meet and Greet is just a 1-for-4 go again. If you've dealt arcane damage to an opponent, you get go again. But if it hits, you make a rune chant, so you're still threatening something, especially in the late game. We've reduced to rune chant yellow. Normally I wouldn't run this, but it is a 0-for-3 D-react that does make you a rune chant. And if you're online, it can make you 2 rune chants, so in a way it's a 0-for-5. If you can make that work, but not normally the case. And then we are running AB3 because we are running a decent amount of blues, so we have the ability to pitch into Arcane Barrier to then go ahead and send something into our opponent without dying to arcane damage effectively. So that's the entirety of the deck. Let's go ahead and show off Florian in the Silver Age Talent Star queue and kind of show off what being an Earth Hero is like. Before we move into gameplay, I wanted to give a shout out to my channel members for the support they provide. Each channel member is provided with their own role in our Discord server, as well as access to the Common Language Podcast livestream every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. With 3 tiers of membership, copper, silver, and gold, you can choose to support my channel in any way you wish at a reasonable price point. Supporting this channel by being a channel member helps keep the lights on, keeps your favorite content creator fed, and of course, allows for me to offer more to you all as a thank you for your continued support. There is a link in the description of this video to become a channel member, and if you choose to support the channel this way, just know that it does truly mean the world to me that you are willing to do that. Don't feel pressured though. Even just subscribing and interacting with my content helps. So thank you again to our channel members for your support, and back to the video. All right, we get paired into Aurora. Very interesting matchup here, I think. I think there's a world in which we bring AB1 probably. I'd say maybe we don't need our headpiece. I'd almost say that's probably the better bet. We could also probably bring in the Arcane Polarity and the Reduced to Rune Chance. Maybe we'll get rid of the Sigil of Earth, and we'll get rid of the Arcane Cussing as well, just in case. So let's go ahead and send that. See what we get into our opponent. Give him the old good luck, have fun. This is a pretty standard hand, I think. We could very well just start getting Earth cards into the grave, pitching here, and then gaining life, which is kind of what we want to do. The quicker we get Earth cards into the grave, the easier it is for us to decompose. Theoretically, what we could have done there is made a Rune Chant and then put this in the arsenal, because we're probably going to have to pay for it on our turn, or on our opponent's turn, I should say, but that's totally fine. If we end up getting the value from it, that's not the end of the world. We are 2 life ahead of our opponent, so we have the opportunity to do that. No other blue in this hand kind of leaves me a little bit sad, but we can still probably Condemn to Slaughter and send a Condemn to Slaughter Nebula Blade for 7. We could also, of course, just, this hand might just block, right, at the end of the day. We do have only 1 block in our armor, so we have to be pretty specific with it. Our opponent's probably going to be playing something like Snatch, if I were to guess. Or really, if they play a Burn Up Shock, that's kind of when we want to try using something like that. But luckily, Condemn to Slaughter blocks for 3. These Arcane Seas Life Gain blocked for 3. And then we have some 2 blocks here in this scenario. Vela Flash. If it was fused, you may play your Nox non-attack action this turn as though it were an instant. Interesting. I'm curious what they would play. I think we might just AB or take 1 here. Yeah, because there's not, I mean, they could play Burn Up Shock, right? Lightning Press. I guess it also wasn't fused, so that's fine. Take 4, make an embodiment. Now, there's a world in which we decompose here to get rid of the embodiment. But I think it well, actually, we can just destroy this to destroy an aura. That's probably better. Play Arcane Seed's Life, both sides. Make 2 Rune Chants. Play Condemn to Slaughter, pitch. I will destroy 1 of my Rune Chants to destroy their embodiment, so we get to do it anyway. And then we get to swing 7. They do not have Arcane Barrier, so they're not looking to block the arcane damage. They're probably also not going to actually block this. If I were to guess, they probably have a much more powerful turn in mind. We are at like almost still 20 life. So if they don't block this, they're going to take 7, go down to 10. We just need to hope that we block well enough, because their turns could very well be like, 20 damage turns if it really turns out well. But a lot of it is like the need to weave lightning cards into one another. So it's kind of important that happens, but we do still get the on hit, so we get the Rune Chant. Pretty good for us. We have a Cadaver Stilling. If we keep that, we're in a good spot. I think we might... I think I'm going to block 3 here. We'll see if they end up doing a thing. Okay, they have a Mark of Lightning, or Sigil of Lightning. That's fine. It's not a Lightning Press. Okay, I'm just going to take 2 here, because that might be a Snatch. Maybe? Look at that. I'm so good at this game. I'm so good at this game. That's crazy. Oh, I did not expect 2 Snatches. It's a very interesting play because I could effectively, I could just block it, right, and give them full tempo. Or I could just give them an arsenal and say, screw it, right? Not the end of the world. I will decompose. Bam, bam. Bam. Sure. There will be 2 in there for the next time. So this is for 8. They're probably going to say no blocks. Sure. Okay. That's actually pretty good for us. They don't have Arcane Barrier, so this definitely, like, kills one of their turns for sure. They have an embodiment. They're also out of snatches. So they don't have the ability to draw another card anymore. This is going to be 4. I do wonder what my turn looks like if because I can do this, that, pitch, this. So it's not really like threatening damage, but not, I mean, not really an on-hit happening here. I'll take 7. Just in case they have like a Scar for a Scar or something. Because Scar for a Scar would go crazy. Here's a Rav. Sizzle on top. Okay. Blocks for 4. Weave Lightning. Garland of Spring. Interesting. Take 2. Arcane Shockwave for 7. Well, I mean, like, I certainly can't take 7. I can take 4, go down to 1, die, like super die. I think I'd rather just block that there. Odds are they probably have a pretty bad hand. And we do want to stay out of shock range. This isn't terrible. We do have to pitch into one of these, but we do have an Arcane Polarity too. So we get to gain life, and we get to go ahead and like prevent stuff with that. So Weave Lightning, Arcanic Shockwave, Fusing. I will actually take the... I guess theoretically I should probably... No, I should take the 1 here. No, I would have had the 1 float. You are destroying it, okay. Gain 4. Yeah, I probably could have blocked out a little bit more, I think. Yeah, that's going to be probably game for sure, I think. I don't know that there's a world I can block all that. This unfortunately only blocks for 3. So, good game. Yeah, pretty good. The downfall to Earth Heroes is that they really can't block very well. I fear once I gave my tempo around to them, it was just kind of like harder. I took a lot of damage in order for me to just swing back for 8, but a lot of my turns ended up just being like, okay, how do I block this all out? Not having good armor suite here either. I could theoretically play the headpiece, the Earth headpiece, not the Plume of Evergrowth, but the Helm of Ligna Vitae or whatever the heck. That just blocks 2 if you have 4. Otherwise, it blocks for 1. But I don't know. It's a very interesting one. I definitely say that, unfortunately, due to not having Rootbound Carapace, Florian does kind of just suffer in this format because they don't have the capability to get online fast enough. You know, if I had more capability of being able to, at defense reaction, get these into the grave, it would have been far better. But unfortunately, especially into like hyper aggro like that, like I can send 9 to 10, right? Mid-range stuff. But when my opponent sends 14, 18, 15, I can't keep up with that damage with only 1 point of armor, and then also not a lot of cards that block very well. But that's okay. We tried our darndest, and that's kind of just what it ends up being. But overall, that is the Florian deck. It's a very quick one today. You'll kind of get the idea again of decomposing and getting on route there. Your whole thing is just trying to get those cards into your graveyard, and then once you have 4 or more earth cards in your graveyard, the game ends up getting a little bit more in your favor because you're pushing more damage. But of course, feel free to try out Florian for yourself. I'll have that description for the link to the Fabrary deck list, so you can always check that out. Then, of course, leave a comment down below letting me know if you'd build this Florian any different, if there are things that maybe you wouldn't add or you would add. I'd be more than happy to go ahead and always try new things in case somebody out there is more of a Florian master than I am. As always, though, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you have not already. And, of course, I hope you continue to have fun in the flesh and blood. And I will see all of you beautiful Ashwings in our next installment of the Silver Age A to Z series.